Hey guys, it's Nick from forex4noobs.com with some daily price action analysis. It is currently 11:41 here in the UK, and it is Wednesday, the 20th of January. 20th already? Okay, so today is a slightly more exciting day. I've already looked at the charts. I know what's coming up in the next few pairs, but we're still going to go through every single thing, every single time frame on every single pair, because it's all part of the process. This is the process I do several times per day, and it ensures that I don't miss any trades, because I'm looking at each and every pair, each and every time frame, several times per day. So anything that forms, I see it. And even if I know, for example, on Euro USD, I know that there's nothing I want to trade, but I'm going to go through the process anyway. It's important to just do it. Go through your process, come up with a process, and it's very simple. Just looking at each and every pair several times per day, each and every time frame. You just stick to your process and you just do it mechanically, and it ensures that you don't miss any trades. And it's one of the most efficient ways to go through your charts and to look for trade setups. So let's go. Starting up with the daily, 12 hour, nothing. 11, nothing. And actually, I forgot to mention one thing. I feel like I need to mention this in every single video I do, just so new people watching it understand. You're going to see a lot of weird time frames up here, like the 11 hour, 9 hour, 7 hour, 5 hour, even the 10 hour. That's a bit of a weird time frame. I don't trade those time frames. These are time frames I don't actually trade. The only reason I have them up here is because they split price action up into different candles, smaller candles or different sized candles, and it just gives me a different view of price action, so I can get a better feel of what price is actually doing. I get a better understanding of what price is doing. I'm not actually trading those time frames. The only ones I'm actually trading are the 3, 6, 8, 12, and daily. So yeah, let's get back to it. We got the 10 hour, nothing really. 9, nothing. 8, nothing. 7. Now, we're not really seeing anything worthy of trading here on Euro USD, but that's no big deal. Check out GBP USD. This thing is just going down. Like, look, it's just crazy. I don't even know if it's going to stop. I'm going to throw another support resistance area down here. We have some indecision there. Looks like it might be support resistance. You should check out yesterday's video. If you think it's weird that I'm just throwing a support resistance area here, check out yesterday's analysis video. I've kind of changed how I do support resistance areas. These days, I just place them based on very little data, like that single candle that hasn't even closed yet. But I don't really use them until I get some more confirmation. So if price were to bounce from here today, then come back down and bounce again, that would be enough confirmation to say, okay, this is a valid support resistance area, and I could take that trade. But I wouldn't trade this first bounce here. But if there was a second bounce from here, I would trade it, because that second bounce is confirming. When we get indecision forming here a second time, it is confirming that this is in fact a valid support resistance area. So I've placed it based on this candle that's not even closed yet, but I'm not going to trade it until we get some more action on the support area. And if we don't, if price just happens to keep pushing through here within this candle, then it comes back up and it bounces from here instead of the support resistance area, then I'll just remove the support resistance area, no harm done. So this placement I just made here at the 140-150 thereabouts, it's just, I've just thrown it up there, but I'm not really sure that this is a valid support resistance area. I'm just going to let it play out and see how price forms around this area. But it doesn't look like there's anything valid to trade on The only trade we could take right now as a reversal would be a bullish reversal. So we'd be going long and we'd be countering this scary trend. I'm not sure if I'd want to do that, not without some very valid and strong support, which we don't have, because like I said, I just placed this based on this candle that's not even closed, we don't have a valid and strong support area. And there's no way I would counter a trend like this without some solid support that I am almost convinced it's actually going to be able to stop this trend at least temporarily. So nothing on GBP USD worth trading. But what about AUD USD? Okay, this is where it starts to get fun, because we have a potential trade set up here on a lower time frame. You can already see it on the 10 hour. We don't really trade the 10 hour though, but you can see where this is going. So 8 hour, what do we have here? We have a nice strong indecision candle, pretty good preceding trend, indecision candle forming on top of a support area, pretty strong support area. I mean, last week, bam, came away from it, tried again, bam, moved away. So it's making its third attempt at breaking through, and we're already seeing indecision. This is the third attempt, and we're already seeing indecision. That candle, see, look at that candle. What's that candle telling us? When you look at it, it paints a pretty clear picture. Sellers tried to push down. They tried to make a new low. They couldn't even make a new low before buyers came up and pushed them all the way back up. So sellers tried to push down, but they couldn't. Buyers pushed them back up to almost the open price. Sellers are still winning the struggle overall from the open price. They're still closing a little bit lower. Well, it looks like it's not closed yet, but it looks like they might close a little bit lower. But it's quite clear that the sellers aren't as strong now as they were with this candle or this candle. They're losing steam. Sellers are losing control of price as it appears right now. That's what price action is telling us right at this moment. This could change by the time the candle closes. It's got 2 hours and 11 minutes until it closes, so it could totally change. I mean, sellers could take control and price could drop down to here, who knows? But as it stands now, this looks like a great potential setup on AUD USD. What I'm looking for is, if price closes as it is now, so if the candle closes roughly as it is now, I'll be looking to enter a long trade around about the top of this indecision candle with a stop loss around about the bottom. It's going to be a pretty good stop loss if it's around here, because it's well protected. I mean, sellers haven't been able to drop down here for a very long time, so it's going to be tough for the sellers to get to this stop loss. And if they do, it tells us that the trade's no good, because sellers are much stronger than we expected and that they've taken control of price. Entry is going to be roughly here. I'm just going to use this tool because it's a really cool tool and it makes it a lot easier to visualize. So the trade's going to be something like this. I think I'm going to go straight up. I'm not going to split positions on this one. I'm just going to go straight up 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. I might go 3-to-1 depending, but it's not very likely. I still think this is a pretty solid area of resistance, so I'd be worried that once price reaches up here, it's going to bounce away. So I'm probably just going to go for 2-to-1, which is, for me, a pretty good risk reward ratio. I know some people like more, but for me, 2-to-1 is pretty good risk reward ratio. And yeah, that's how I'm probably going to play this trade. But you know, it's really not the smartest idea to do your analysis on a trade, you know, how you're going to trade a trade before it's actually closed. I don't know what I'm going to do when it closes. When I'm doing all my proper risk analysis and trying to figure it all out, I might change my mind. I might trade it a little differently. So you need to do your own analysis if you're going to trade this. But I see it as a potential setup. We've got indecision forming on top of a support area. We've got a pretty decent preceding trend. It all looks good. It looks like sellers are going to struggle here and they will potentially reverse. USD CAD is up next. Let's start with the daily and work our way down. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Now we're starting to see something on the 8 hour, on the 6 hour, on the 4 hour, 3 hour. Let's look at it on the 6 hour. Now this is another potential trade, but this one's already closed, the indecision candle. It's actually looking pretty decent, I have to say. Now, If you watched yesterday's analysis, you'll know a little about these support resistance areas here on USD CAD. So let me show you something quite interesting. Look at where USD CAD has come from. 2012, it was down here and it's gone up, up, up. So how have I placed these support resistance areas? I mean, these support resistance areas, what are they placed based on? Well, they're placed based on data from 2003. 2003. I know it's silly. I don't really want to do it, but if I want to keep trading USD CAD, what other choice do I have? I have to go back to 2003. It's the only data that I have from which I can place support resistance areas based on. It's the only data I have. I really do not have a choice. So I just placed them. I placed them based on data from 2003. And I said to myself, I'm just going to see how it works out. I'm going to see how it plays out. If we get some bounces from those areas, that would confirm that these support resistance areas are actually good. If price just cuts straight through the support resistance areas, it will tell me that the support resistance areas are useless. So we have this one here, and a bounce is forming right now. It's not really bounced, but it looks like we're going to get a reversal here. And this is an area from 2003. Let me show you which one it is. It's this one from 2003. I placed this area based on those two bounces. This one and that one. I placed it based on that. Oh, and also this wick here. And it looks like, at the moment, it looks like it's still active. I mean, and it's not a daily bounce, but we're obviously getting a reaction here on the daily. On the 12-hour, we're getting indecision forming right now. So, oops. So it looks like price is getting stuck here on the 12-hour. And as we've seen on the 8-hour and the 6-hour, it looks like it's going to reverse. Now, I'm not that confident in actually taking this trade based on this support resistance area, which is from 2003. I'm not that confident in actually taking this trade, but what I will say is I find this extremely interesting, and I am going to be monitoring this closely. I might trade it on a demo account, but I don't feel enough confidence in these support resistance areas at the moment because they're so old to actually jump into this trade. You might feel differently. Your risk assessment might tell you that it's worth taking this trade, and if the support resistance area was fresh and it was a support resistance area I trusted, this trade setup looks awesome. It's like a great looking trade setup. The preceding trend is really nice, the indecision is really nice, and I haven't actually checked the risk reward ratio, but just looking at it, it looks like it's going to be a really good risk reward ratio. So let's check it out. Even if your entry is a bit lower, your stops here. Yeah, you got, all right, so entry around here, stop around here. You got 2-to-1 pretty easily. It's a pretty solid trade setup, but the foundation for it, the support, the resistance area for it is not solid. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to take it, but I don't really think I will. I'd rather go with the AUD/USD trade because it's based on a kind of more solid foundation. But something to keep in mind if you are, I don't know, you might want to trade it. All right, so let's check out New Zealand USD. Nothing really happening here. Let's check out GBP, JPY. All right, interesting. We'll check it out on the daily in a second, but let's just go down and see what we see across all the time frames. All right, so on the daily, it's heading into this support area that we've placed here. Obviously finding some support here. It's reacting at that area. It couldn't break through it. Nothing that looks like a potential trade right now, but it's still something to keep in mind. It's heading down into the support area, so we could see indecision forming here in the next few candles, even 12-hour possibly. Just something to keep in mind. But there's nothing really tradable right now on JPY. Euro JPY, it's just stuck on this support area. There's nothing to trade here, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to go through each and every time frame anyway. But yeah, nothing worth trading here. USD JPY, let's look at what's up with that. Nothing really much going on. Oops. Yeah, and USD CHF final pair. Let's see what that's up to. But it doesn't look like we're going to get much out of this pair either. Yeah, nothing much going on. So for today, AUD USD looking pretty good. This is definitely something I might jump into, this AUD USD trade. It looks pretty good. And USD CAD, you know, this one's up to you. If you're willing to take that gamble that this is in fact a solid resistance area, even though it's from 2003, if you're willing to take that gamble, and all signs are starting to point towards it actually being a solid resistance area. I mean, we are getting indecision forming on it. It's quite obvious. If you look at these candles, we got 3 strong bullish candles, and all of a sudden, on this area that I've placed from 2003, we get bam, indecision. We get a solid sign that buyers are struggling to keep control of price, and that sellers might be taking control of price. Now, it could very well be a coincidence. You know, indecision does form in trends. It doesn't necessarily form at support resistance areas. There's an indecision candle. There's an indecision candle. You know, it could very well be a coincidence. There's no denying that it could be a coincidence that it's forming on top of this area. So if you were interested in taking this short trade here, there would be somewhat of a gambling aspect to it. You're gambling on whether this is actually a good resistance area or whether it's just a coincidence that indecision formed there. And really only time will tell how this one turns out. And that's why I'm probably not going to take this trade, because I like to take trades that have a very good chance of working out. And this one is a bit too risky for my taste. But hey, not everyone trades the same way I do. And you could trade my strategy, but trade it with a lot more risk than I trade it. So you don't have to follow my strategy the exact same way I do. If you think that this is worth the risk, then there you go. I've spotted it. You might want to take it. But AUD USD is the one I'm looking at. AUD USD, much more sensible trade in my opinion. The support area has some very recent bounces. So it's clear that this is a good support area. We're getting some nice indecision. Preceding trend's not as good as USD CAD, but it's still a pretty decent preceding trend. So yeah, let's see how this one plays out. I'll try to do a live trade video for this trade. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's analysis, and I'll see you for tomorrow's analysis.